Various participants and young cocoa farmers from Teso and Buked sub-region attended a cocoa and coffee field training visit held at Maizimasa in Butebo District. Samson Odele, a trainer and a specialist in cocoa growing from Heritage Cocoa, which is aiming at bringing expertise together to help people in cocoa farming and also encourage others to join, says that their work is mainly to support farmers not to go through bad experiences while growing cocoa.
I'm a farmer, but also we have a loose arrangement as a heritage cocoa. Heritage cocoa, it comes into being for purposes of bringing the expertise together that we can help our people to plant cocoa correctly. Because we have this vision, we don't want people to go through the kind of experiences that we went through to establish cocoa. And therefore, because of that, we thought that we needed to get together and we give back to our people by way of technical support, giving them technical ideas as to how they can establish cocoa well, and they succeed without them necessarily making the mistakes. So, Heritage Cocoa, we are focusing on that, supporting farmers like us, because we are also farmers. We are going through experiences. We don't want people to go through the same experiences that we are going through. So we want to support our people to do it correctly. So we are basically just using our experiences to help these people. So alongside that, too many things come into play. For example, seedlings. Can they get the right seedlings? And because seedlings are so important, we say, okay, let's create seedlings for people, such that we can give them an option of good seedlings. Such that when you talk about good seedlings, this is the quality of a good seedling, and so on and so on and so on and so on. At the end of the day, somebody asks and says, so how do I get a good seedling? We say, that is a good seedling. And therefore we give that. So providing seedlings, providing technical advice to aspiring farmers, in especially cocoa, because that is where we have the expertise. Doing all of this, we wanted to do it under the auspices of what you would call field farm schools. Field farm schools is a very nice concept. It is a concept whereby the farmers will create smaller groups, probably at parish level or even at village level. They identify themselves, and then they can create, we can support them create a demo garden. And out of that demo garden, they should be able to learn the best practices. They're able to learn the best practices, trained by their fellow farmers and learning by the farmers themselves. So it is the farmers learning from each other, learning the best practices, and so on and so on. We call that farm layout. When you have a field, you need to maximize, you need to get the maximum number of plants of cocoa in that field. In other words, you need to lay out your farm properly. You need to do the right spacing. Laying of a farm, there are a few things that you consider. For example, you are going to be moving manure. You are going to be moving supplies into the garden. You are going to be taking supplies out of the garden. For example, the produce, you take it out. How do you move it? You move it probably in the roads. So while you lay out your farm, lay out the roads as well. Lay out the roads. Then beyond that, do the right spacing, orientation. If, for example, there is a general slope of the land going this side, make sure that you can put your lines going across the slope, such that in the future you are able to put your what I would call trenches, water retention trenches, which run across the slope. So the layout of the farm becomes a critical element in a way that you plan how you are going to be moving, how you move materials within the garden, how the lines are going to run, such that you can be able to apply other technologies like water retention technologies, how you are going to line your trees, how you are going to line everything. Okay? So laying out of that farm becomes a critical element. The science of making money out of cocoa, it lies in two things. One, you maximize the number of plants that will go into an acre, for example, or for every space, maximize. So when you do that, then you go down to the hole. dig the right hole. For example, cocoa coffee, do a hole of 3 feet and 3 feet. Going down, if you can afford 3 feet, good. But if you can't afford 2 feet, 3 feet, 2 feet will be good enough. But 2.5, 2 feet, good for cocoa, right? So, therefore, the ingredients that you put inside, in that soil is going to be able to boost your plants, and therefore obtaining the highest amount of weight procured per tree out of that 1 acre. Because you must be aware that there are trees that will produce half a kilogram. But if you do the management of your whole well, that it is well watered, the nutrients are there, you can obtain 5 kilograms of coffee or cocoa per tree. The bouquet development strategy, I think that is a God-given opportunity for this region, in that we are pursuing development based on a plan rather than guesswork. You know, haphazard movement, but this is now organized movement in terms of development. So, in line with Bukedi development, we are available. The same people that we are talking to, the same people that we are giving skills to, are the same people that are planting cocoa, in line with Bukedi development. For example, in this group, I have one of my two relatives. Each one of them has done 3 acres, 2 acres, and so on and so on. Why? I gave them the justification to Bukedi development. And on that basis, they made the decisions. So a lot of people are coming into this. And us, as people that have walked this journey already, we feel obliged to provide assistance to those that are walking into this space, because we are basing on our own experiences to help them walk into this space of cocoa. That is the role that we are doing. I operate from a place where cocoa is already working. Guys are already producing cocoa. That is specifically Mayuge. I interact a lot with people in the villages in Mayuge specifically, and it is surprising. There, the phenomenon is, even when you do 100 plants of cocoa, it is sufficient to cater for the home needs. In Buganda, we have something they call Sente za Kukameza. If you did 100 plants of cocoa in Busoga, you are able to cater for all your kameza needs as a woman, and all other needs that before a home, including eating meat on some few days, right? Even in paying school fees, for example, primary going children, you can, out of 100 plants. So as long as you can afford land that can, if it can hold 100 plants and more, you are good enough to go. This is not happening out of a vacuum, okay? It is like people have already been growing granules, maize. Where are they planting granules and maize? What we are saying that pick a bit of that and put it under cocoa, such that cocoa can consistently give you income. And we have proof that it can give income. We have proof it can give income. Let people sacrifice a part of what they have. Instead of 1 acre of granules, 1 acre of maize, do 100 plants of cocoa. Let people not feel discouraged. Let people plant cocoa. Let people follow the guidance of Budeko. Budeko is pioneering this, and let's follow their guidance and it will be well. Samson Odele, a farmer of cocoa, now currently operating with about 25 acres of cocoa, and also a partner with Inheritage Cocoa. And we are here, specifically in Bukedi, to support other upcoming farmers grow cocoa.
Many participants expressed their gratitude to the organizers for coming up with a great idea aimed at changing and transforming their livelihood.
Riado Sek Matthias, I am a senior agricultural officer, but here today we are here on an objective. We have seen that in the whole of East Bukedi region, we have not been having cash crops that can support people to drive their livelihoods and income. So we are basically encouraging our farmers to plant coffee and cocoa so that we also get cash crops that can keep supporting our families, our people, to fight poverty, because the whole of Eastern region, there is a lot of poverty going on around. But it is only now that we see that if we can engage in coffee production and cocoa production, that is the only way we shall be able to elevate our people from poverty. So we have come up with a group which we are registering as a cooperative. This is going to be called Butebo-BUKEDI Cocoa Coffee Farmers Cooperative. And that is the purpose why we are here today, to train our upcoming farmers so that they know what they are going to do exactly, so that they don't make mistakes, so that they are able to support and invest wisely, because these crops are long-term crops. So we need them to have all the knowledge, all the practical bit of it, so that they can be able to freely and effectively raise coffee plantations and cocoa plantations in the region. This is part of the core reasons why we want people to get all the skills. We are saying, if you are getting into this business, can we be able to have water sources to be able to back up with this natural water that we get? So it is only possible if we come together and get to know what is required for this, to support this venture. Because now, if our farmers now here go back, they are going to get to know that they need some water sources to support the coffee or cocoa so that it is established as well, especially during the first rainy seasons. This gives that long period for them to be able to allow the cocoa to establish and coffee. And then when the second rains come, it will be just a boost to help this that has already established. We have the other regions doing cocoa and coffee. We have Bugisu region. We have part of Ntoroko, Bundibujo, doing cocoa. And the lives the people there are living are much better than the lives our people are living. We used to have cassava. It is the only cash crop which became cash crop. We had cotton, but it failed. But now cassava, a kilogram costs 300 shillings. When you compare coffee and cocoa, coffee costs about 15,000 a kilo. The person who is getting 15,000 is able to buy as much cassava as possible if they wanted. So we have really seen that these are critical solutions to part of the poverty that are tackling our region.
My name is Mutanga Grace, an agriculturalist by profession and a cocoa expert, cocoa consultant, having been part of the team that is fostering cocoa in this country, done many consultations with the NADS and other organizations onto cocoa, and even contributed to the cocoa manual that is being circulated in this country. So I'm here today with a group of BUKEDI and a group of Teso, fostering the same profitable cash crop cocoa that is taking our economy at a higher rate. It is increasing the growth of our economy as a country. And being a cocoa farmer too, as a young man, I'm really one of them reaping the benefits of cocoa. So it's a privilege to be part of this movement in the same region. Cocoa growers, they are facing a challenge of limited extension services. Not very many people understand cocoa. And these farmers, you realize you meet a farmer who has already messed up, as you've been hearing, mistakes. So the people who really understand the cash crops are very few. You know, understanding the agronomy, understanding the setting up of the garden, understanding the pests and diseases, understanding the post-harvest handling of the cocoa. So you realize there is a gap that must be binded, and it affects the youths, it affects the farmers too. Cocoa is a lucrative cash crop, because the more it grows is the more the farmer benefits. And it is not seasonal that after you've planted, after you have harvested, this time you wait for another season. The farmer keeps on harvesting, meaning it can sustain the household income. And also the young men, you can grow with it, because the more it grows is the more it does what? It produces.
I'm Abdul Malik Odeke from Teso sub-region, but based in Mbale. I just used to follow up the President Museveni's initiative of encouraging people to go into for farming. So when I get there, I felt it. I think it is better for me to go into farming. So what I did is just to get an expert. I had one of my friends who is Osipo. He's an expert of coffee and cocoa. So I decided to pick cocoa because when we look at the physical area of our area there, Teso, it is fit to be having cocoa. That's why I picked interest on it. So I want just to concentrate on cocoa and maybe some banana plantation. That's what I've seen. It is good for me.
What have you learned today?
I've learned a lot because I've learned a lot of things. I've just been wasting time in town there, sitting in veranda doing some small business which cannot give me anything. But I felt farming is more prioritized than doing that business. That's why I came in. And what inspires me so much is I see young friends from my village area. People are improving their lifestyle. That's why I came in. So, let me also go. It is not too late. With the farming, there's nothing late in. So I learned a lot about that thing. Like, for example, I had one of my friends in Palisa here also called me to his farm. I saw what he did as young as 25 years. The man is now driving, he's having houses, what, and so forth. So he encouraged me also that you go in for farming if you want to benefit.
Do you have a piece of land?
I have a piece of land, a very big land, but it's in Katakwi. I don't know, near Vice President Alupo. I have a jungle of land, so I'm going to concentrate on that.
My name is Alice Nangoku Okurut. Today I have come to attend a training on how to grow cocoa and coffee. This initiative is by some individuals who have already started planting it, whereby we came together as BUTEBO-BUKEDI, and we want to prioritize coffee, cocoa as our perennial crops, different from the cassava, the millet we have been doing. The motivation is that we need to come out of poverty, as these perennial crops are really high paying, and we are sure it will make our people come out of poverty. What I have learned today is that before you plant any of these crops, you must prepare your garden very well. Like, you must dig. Distance from a plant to a plant is 7 feet. A hole must be 3 feet by 3 and 3 feet deep. And also you must backfill the hole with the black soil mixed with manure, and then cover with the topsoil. You don't need to plant immediately. You have to wait a bit, and it is advisable that you plant when it has rained. And it is also good to have very good seedlings. For me, I'm really interested in cocoa, and I have my 2 acres in Kalaki, Palisa district, which I tend to put purely under cocoa.
They had interactive training sessions in garden preparation, garden layout and pegging, hole preparation, seedlings and its sourcing, cocoa planting, and how to look after cocoa. They visited Mr. Charles Odere's farm under Heritage Cocoa and later proceeded to have a coffee learning session at Genesis Coffee Farm in Kakoro. Lydia Akiding, Bukedi Times, here in Maizimasa, Butebo District, Bukedi Sub-Region.